you say college classic campus hits, well, if you did, you're going to have to stop because we're trying to listen to Mr. Popbox on SoundCloud. Mr. Popbox and the Fallen, SoundCloud. We're reading the Book of Mormon. So we're going to stop Mr. Popbox and we're going to read you the Book of Mormon because I really enjoy the Book of Mormon, which is I do the Bible, the Greek Septuagint, and the New World Translation of the Holy Scripture, and the Lost Books and the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so on. Okay, so now it came to pass that after King Mosiah had continual peace for the space of 3 years, he was desirous to know concerning the people who went up to dwell in the land of Lehi-Nephi. Now, again, Lehi was told by an angel to grab his family and escape. Vete, vámonos, as the Spanish would say. Ándale pues. Leave. Hurry. Today we wouldn't be able to do that so quickly. God would have to do it. He'd have to let them come in and endanger your lives, and in the middle of the night, ISIS come in and crash through your door. Today, we find spiritual warfare pretty much similar to the beginning of time. A lot of people say, let me ask you something. What is that wilderness stuff on that? Spiritual warfare. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels battled against Satan and his angels, and Satan and his angels fought against Michael and his angels, and they prevailed not. And their place was found no longer in heaven, and they were cast down out of heaven, that old serpent, even the dragon, cast down onto the earth. Into the earth. Now, when they're cast down into the earth, you have to remember they're cast down at another time. They're not cast down. People like, oh, yeah, no, that was judgment. They're cast down into the pit. Now, this is the ugly part about that. This is regulated to their regulations, right? Not ours. We're humans. So their standard goes into a communist, a socialist, a fleshful, an agreement. And see, when you do that, you totally give up the spirit, which enables you to do more. And it causes you to do less. And it suffices only the flesh. And believe me, it does suffice the flesh. It does. And the better you look, or the more you have, the more it will give you. But, or the more they want. But the spirit, it's not like that, though it can be if you're in the right spirit and you have the right flesh. Of course, not everybody retains the right thoughts. So it depends on what they need you for. In this particular course here, we wouldn't be reading the New World Translation or Book of Mosiah. We would be going into this book here. This is called the Communist Manifesto. And this describes that stuff. This is the flesh. So, when you take part, we have to understand. It's kind of hard. I'm always lacking understanding. It stinks around me. I'm bugs flying. It's not me understanding. Okay, so, and it came to pass that taking the King Mosiah granted that 16 of their strong men might entertain battle, entertain the thought, and go up to the land of Lehi-Nephi to inquire concerning their brethren. Lehi-Nephi. So Lehi was given the opportunity to escape And he did. And here's the funny part is that later on they say they run into some people and say, "Oh, we're from we're here." They say, "What happened?" They went in captivity. They did go into captivity. Daddy was right. Yeah. So now, now the only thing you can say is this: I should listen to my dad. Yeah, maybe. But if you got a Lehi and a Nephi, you're doing good. But if you've got a layman or a layman, you won't do so good. So we see that they are killing Game of Thrones. And it came to pass that on the morrow they started to go up, having with them one Ammon, he being a strong and mighty man, and a descendant of Zarahemla, and he was also their leader. And now they knew not the course they should travel in the wilderness to go up to the land of Lehi Nephi. And therefore, they wandered many days in the wilderness. Even 40 days did they wander. And when they had wandered 40 days, they came to a hill, which is north of the land of Shilom. And there they pitched their tents. And Ammon took 3 of his children, and their names were Amaleki, Hilam, and Ham. And they went down into the land of Nephi. And behold, they met the king of the people who were in the land of the Nephites, and in the land of Shilom. And they were surrounded by the king's guard, and were taken, and were bound, and were committed to prison. And it came to pass, when they had been in prison 2 days, they were again brought before the king, and their bands were loosed, and they stood before the king, and were permitted, or rather commanded, that they should answer the questions which he should ask them. And he said unto them, Behold, I am Limhi, or Limhi. It's Limhi, huh? The son of Noah, who was the son of Zeniph. I'm telling you, it's a Zeniph. Oh, no. Stupid. Okay, so the Mormon came out. It's funny because people look at Mormons today, they see them on their bikes, they terrorize them, they harass them. This book gives you a recording of a different Mormon. These guys were soldiers, these guys were bad. Today they're all quite, hey, Betty, how you doing, Sam? So how you been? I'm doing good, Jacob. How's Joseph? He's great. Start naming their children after the Bible: John, Ishmael, Isaac. I still want that white picket fence I saw back in King Joseph's days. I wasn't King Joseph, you know that. He was a prophet, not a king. Well, he may as well have been a king. Come on, Jacob. So here we go. And he said to them, Behold, I am Limhi, the son of Noah, who was the son of Zeniph, who came up out of the land of Zarahemla to inherit this land. Why? Because God, Allah said, I can have it. It's mine. Give it to me. Give me. I'm going to go to the war, and I'll be right back. Hey, Tommy, you want to go with me to the war? No, Phil, I don't want to go to the war. Who named you Phil? Which was the land of their fathers, who was made a king by the voice of the people. That reminds me of my own business. Yeah, but and now I desire to know the cost whereby you were so bold as to come near the walls of the city when I myself was with my guards without the gate. Well, now, for this cause have I suffered that ye should be preserved, that I might inquire of you, or else I should have caused that my guards should have put you to death. Ye are permitted to speak. And now when Ammon saw that he was permitted to speak, he went forth and bowed himself before the king. And rising again, he said, O king, I am very thankful before God this day that I am yet alive and am permitted to speak. And I will endeavor to speak with boldness, for I am assured that if ye had known me, ye would not have suffered that I should have on these mountains. For I am Amen. I am a descendant of Zarahemla, and have came up out of the land of Zarahemla, to whom Zenith brought up out of that. And now it came to pass that after Limhar had heard the words of Ammon, he was exceedingly glad and said, now I know of a surety that my brethren who were in the land of Zarahemla are yet alive, and now I will rejoice, and on the morrow I will cause that my people shall rejoice also. For behold, we are in bondage to the Lamanites and are taxed with a tax which is grievous to be borne. And now, behold, our brethren will deliver us out of our bondage or out of the bands of the Lamanites, and we will be their slaves to the Nephites and to pay tribute to the king of the Lamanites. These Lamanites, they're real good. They, they don't got it together. They've got churches, but the churches are poor. They've got bookstores, but there's only 4 books. They've got chairs, but they're somebody else's chairs that they bought secondhand. Now that's okay. That's okay, mind you. There's nothing wrong with that. But they got a school. They got doors. They don't pay electricity. They don't have to pay a tax or anything like that because they're a church. They don't take the opportunity to take advantage of all the things that you're supposed to take advantage of, for state and federal taxes and county and city codes, all that stuff that they could be making money off of and building up the church and making the church look more beautiful, but instead they're spending it somewhere else. And you have to ask yourself where, because then they have drug rehabilitation centers that they're getting money for, and people are in there. And say, oh, it costs a lot of money. No, it doesn't. The drug rehabilitation center is paid for. The entire thing is paid for. But they got solar powering. Everything is solar powering. So what are we looking at here now? We're looking at people who are really bad. Really bad. But let's continue. And now when Ammon saw that he was permitted to speak, he went forth and bowed himself before the king. And rising again, he said, O king, I am very thankful before God this day that I am yet alive and am permitted to speak. And I will endeavor to speak with boldness, for I am assured that if ye had known me, ye would not have suffered that I should have worn these bands. For I am Ammon. And he warns them. They don't listen. So here we go. I am Ammon, or Ammon, and I will endeavor to speak with boldness. For I am assured that if ye had known me, ye would not have suffered that I should have worn these bands. For I am Ammon, and a descendant of Zarahemla, and have come out of the land of Zarahemla to inquire concerning my brethren, whom Zenith brought up out of the land. And now it came to pass that after Limhi had heard the words of Ammon, he was exceedingly glad and said, Now I know of a surety that my brethren who were in the land of Zarahemla are yet alive. And now I will rejoice, and on the morrow I will cause that my people shall rejoice also. For behold, we are in the bondage. We are in the bondage to the Lamanites, and are taxed with a tax which is grievous to be borne. Basically, let me explain this to you because this is what we're going through today. What they're doing is they're going into their homes spiritually. They're laying down the flesh and they're lifting up the spirit to go into a house to sit in their bug, an animal, a dog, a cat, a sheep, and watch and listen and eavesdrop. Now the Indians used to practice this, and this is one of the things that you see on the TV that a lot of people don't understand. But they practice this, and it's not something that everybody practices. Only certain Indians practice it. And what it is it's called laying down the flesh, spiritual entry, spiritual. God, what is it again? Okay, so anyway, it's a spiritual practice where you lay down the flesh. And people are practicing it right now today. You can literally see their eyes on your curtains. And what they don't know is that they're trespassing. It's a sin against God. And they say, no, it's not a sin against God. No, yes, it is. It's a sin against God. It's called an abomination. It's like upon people's nakedness. Okay, so what they do is they go in and they watch you. And this is called spiritual police. And what they do is they tax you. You don't pay them. When they'll rat you off. They'll rat you off to your neighbor. They'll rat you off to law enforcement, and they're usually good friends with. And they'll rat you off to the judge and the magistrate, which they're usually good friends with. These people who are high council in cities with city hall and under city hall and stuff like that, even gas companies and stuff like that, and they rip you off if you don't pay them. If they feel you owe them the money, they're going to steal from you. And in some cases, some people believe they do owe them and they pay them. I don't like to pay tax collectors. I think they should be hung. And be quite honest with you, they used to hang them before they started getting away with stealing. There was 3 no-nos. Horse, my wife, my boots. Okay, so for behold, we are in bondage to the Lamanites and are taxed with a tax and grievous to be borne. And now this is what they were practicing in Jesus Christ's days. When you hear the tax collectors, they were doing the same thing. And this is all illegal. It's illegal. And it's against the law. It's extortion, right? And they're practicing it, and they think they're going to get away with it. It's illegal. It's usually gangsters and groups do that. Again, like the society group, they have tax collectors that go out against other groups and organizations, and they tax them. They sue them. So here, behold, our brethren will deliver us out of bondage or out of the hands of the Lamanites, and we will be their slaves. For it is better that we be slaves to the Nephites than to pay tribute to the king of the Lamanites. Okay, now what's going on here is that the king of the Lamanites, okay, you're saying the better to pay tribute to these guys, right? You pay a yearly or annually or a bi-monthly tribute. And that's a compliment to whoever because you are in better hands than you would have been before. And what happens is that you're not bugged like jackasses like him, jackasses like her. You're not bothered by them. What happens is that these people are robbers. They're decayed. They're not going to change their minds. They're robbers and decayed. God will suffice his force upon them. So anyway, and behold, our brethren will deliver us out of, so they rather pay tribute to the king of the Lamanites, because if they pay somewhere else, it's not good. Okay, so let's read this. Behold, our brethren will deliver us out of the bondage of the hands of the Lamanites, and we will be their slaves. For it is better that we be slaves to the Nephites than to pay tribute to the Lamanites. You see, this is how abundant the Nephites are. The Nephites are so abundant that if they work, they'll be increased. But if they don't work, they won't be increased. And I'm going to give it to you straight. These are whores. These are prostitutes. These are those who believe they've inherited the land. And they did. They did. They did inherit. Laman and the mule did inherit the land. It's true. They weren't supposed to become thieves. It doesn't say that. That's not what I read. How does one become a dope head? What is a dope head? An alcoholic, a heroin addict, when one exists into it on his own. Prostitutes. When you go along with something, you're taking part in prostitution. So if you start something and I go along with it and you make me believe that I'm a part of it, but I'm not, but I know I could be, there's an argument there. And it goes into a courtroom, into a battle. By when you were prostitutes. Even you. And now King Limhi commanded his guards that they should no more bind Ammon nor his brethren, but caused that they should go to the hill which was north of Shilom, and bring their brethren to the city, that thereby they might eat and drink and rest themselves from the labors of their journey, for they had suffered many things. They had suffered hunger, thirst, and fatigue. And now it came to pass on the morrow that King Limhi sent a proclamation among all his brethren, that thereby they might gather themselves together to the temple to hear the words which he should speak unto them. So now, what's important here is that you have to be coached, you have to be taught, you have to be told the truth. And you got to understand the truth, because if you don't, you're not going to like this. You can't expect to sit and listen to get the truth and not get the fullness of it. I mean, that's what you want in return. You'll get the same. It's hard to believe that it could be that bad. Now it came to pass on the morrow that King Lehi sent a proclamation among all his people, that thereby they might gather themselves together to the temple to hear the words which he should speak unto them. And it came to pass that when they had gathered themselves together, that he spake unto them in this wise, saying, O ye my people, lift up your heads and be comforted, for behold, the time is at hand. What time? Do you know what time? Oh, our hour. And now it came to pass that when they had gathered themselves together, that he spake unto them in this wise, saying, O ye my people, lift up your heads and be comforted, for behold, the time is at hand, or is not far distant, when we shall no longer be in subjection to our enemies, notwithstanding our many strugglings, which have been in vain. Yet I trust there remaineth an effectual struggle to be made. And therefore, lift up your heads and rejoice, and put your trust in God, and that God who was the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and also that God who brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, and caused that they should walk through the Red Sea on dry land. Can you believe it? Dry land! And caused that they should walk through the Red Sea on dry ground, and fed them with manna, that they might not perish in the wilderness, and many more things did he do for them. Okay, now, the wilderness. Why are we going there? The wilderness is a place where sin gets sent for protection. Oh, but we got bad people, and they like to rape our moms. They like to rape our sisters, and we're little cowards. We don't do nothing about it. Little teeny little cowards. Now, the wilderness, let me describe this for you. The wilderness is a spiritual place. You can lose your father there, you can lose your mother there, lose your brother there, your sister, your aunt, and your neighbor. You can get a job there working with the sheriff's department, police department, whatever. Today, that's what that would be. In the old days, it was the magistrate. And you can do it for $40 a week. You're making $250 a week. You're paying $40 a week. You got a job. Now, understand something. In this place here, you can lose a family member and somebody else take that flesh. But that family member is gone. They're not coming back. So remember, the wilderness is a place where God calls you up. He calls you up and he says, come up hither and take no part in that sin. So you're not going to be able to sit in the wilderness too long sinning like that. It's not going to happen. So if you're taking part in something, again, if you're taking part in something, and you lose against someone, and it's a prostitute thing, and you lose, you're all prostitutes. Do you understand that? Do you know what a prostitute is? Do you know what makes a prostitute? The Bible says here that a prostitute is exactly the thing that I just told you. And again, that same God has brought our fathers out of the land of Jerusalem and has kept and preserved his people even until now. So we don't want to pay $40 for that job. We really want that job, but there's another way to do it, and some people have found that way. Huh? But let's finish this first. I'm come from the Latino background. My grandfather's being Hamo. And being Hamo. Latinos, Mexicans, they think it's funny when we do the keke and all that stuff. Stupid Mexican. But that's not really funny. So you all witness this day that Senaph, who was made king over this people, he being over zealous to inherit the land of the fathers, therefore being deceived by the cunning and craftiness of King Laman, who having entered into a treaty with King Senaph and having yielded up into his hands the possessions of a part of the land, or even the city of Lehi Nephi and the city of Shiloh and the land round about it. And all this he did for the sole purpose of bringing this people into subjection or into bondage. Remember that after you're done. And all this he did for the sole purpose of bringing this people into subjection or into bondage. And behold, we at this time do pay tribute to the king of the Lamanites to the amount of 1/2 of our corn and our barley, and even all of our grain of every kind, and 1/2 of the increase of our flocks and our herds, and even 1/2 of all we have or possess. With the king of the Lamanites doeth exact of us our lives, our rear ends. And what's going to want more? I know of a girl who had to have a breast reduction because these days are so dangerous. She said she has no privacy in her home. There are eavesdroppers and spies everywhere. She just don't want it. Pretty bad. And now, is not this grievous to be born? And is not this our affliction? Great affliction is that when they touch you in a way that is not physical or is spiritual. That's to be afflicted. You get away with it, and the sheriff watches, and you don't mind. There's the one before him or the one after him. But when these people rise up and they destroy it all, new sheriffs will be inaugurated. And now it is not this grievous to be born, and is not this our affliction great. Now behold, how great reason we have to mourn. Yea, I say unto you, great are the reasons which we have to mourn. For behold, how many of our brethren have been slain, and their blood has been split in vain, and all because of iniquity. For if this people had not fallen into transgression, the Lord would not have suffered that this great evil should come upon them. But behold, they would not hearken unto his words. But there arose contentions among them, even so much that they did shed blood among themselves. And a prophet of the Lord have they slain. Many of them, many prophets. They slain Joseph. Yes.
Hey, it's me.
I'm online right now.
I need the key. We got to take the car.
I have to move the other car. You have to wait
How long?
5 minutes.
I don't know if there's a raccoon out here, but all this food is all over.
All the reasons we have to mourn, for behold, how many of our brethren have been slain, and their blood has been spilt in vain, and in all because of iniquity. For if this people had not fallen into transgression, the Lord would not have suffered that this great evil should come upon them. But behold, they would not hearken unto his words, but there arose contentions among them, even so much that they did shed blood among themselves. So they were being misled, and they wanted to hurt each other because they didn't know better. They were being told this is the reason why. They're being told that's the reason why. They're being told this is the reason why. But basically what was happening is that they were killing each other and coming against each other. That was the reason why. For if this people had not fallen into transgression, and now a prophet of the Lord have they slain, yea, a chosen man of God, who told them of their wickedness and abominations, and prophesied of many things which are to come, yea, even the coming of Christ. And because he said unto them that this Christ was the God, the Father of all things, and said that he should take upon him the image of man, and it should be the image after which man was created in the beginning. Or in other words, he said that man was created after the image of God, and that God should come down among the children of men and take upon him his flesh and blood and go forth upon the face of the earth. And now, because he said this, they did put him to death. They killed him. And many more things did they do, which brought down the wrath of God upon them, and God did succeed. Therefore, who wondereth that they are in bondage, and that they are smitten with sore afflictions? For behold, the Lord hath said, I will not succor my people in the day of their transgressions, but I will hedge up their ways, that they prosper not, and their doings shall be as a stumbling block before them. And again he said, if my people shall sow filthiness, they shall reap the chaff Therefore, in the whirlwind and the effect thereof is poison. 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 You're good at what you do, right? I mean, you're good at what you do. You're proud of yourself, right? You don't go to church every Sunday, right? You're in the Word every Sunday. Sometimes it takes time, right? You think you know everything. Think this guy's gonna burn this guy, but you don't know everything. No, no. You repeat yourself oftenly because you're weak. Your battle is the increase of your affliction upon me. I'm not weak. How many there are of you? One will be as strong as 1,000. This is true. You can't see the signs, but you do believe the lie. You are a prostitute. You can do that. And again, he saith, and my people shall sow filthiness, they shall reap the east wind, which bringeth immediate destruction. And now behold, the promise of the Lord is fulfilled, and ye are smitten and afflicted. No, nothing like that. And being a prostitute is easy. And now behold, the promise of the Lord is fulfilled, and you are smitten and afflicted. Like that? You want me to be seated with you? But if ye will turn to the Lord with full purpose of heart, and put your trust in him, and serve him with all diligence of mind, if ye do this, he will, according to his own will and pleasure, deliver you out of bondage. So we learn here today that many of you have lost, but you can still win. Many of you are stupid, and it's okay. I had a friend once. He had a good-looking mom. He didn't let me take advantage of it. He set me straight. This college class campus hits. I'm TcYbarra. God bless you. Let's not be a prostitute.